Good afternoon, students. So we have come to the end of this training session. So as discussed, we have covered with all these HTML, JavaScript, servlets and JSP, XML and ANT also we have seen. So we have come up to the very last topic of this Wipro training module, AJAX. So these are the concepts we are supposed to cover as part of this AJAX. And since at the beginning, first let us discuss about AJAX and then I'll run an application to demonstrate you how AJAX is useful with the use of JSP and servlet. So by using a JSP and a servlet, I'll render one simple application for making you understand the use of AJAX. And once I'm done with this discussion, I'll tell the things that are very essential for with regard to your Wipro assessments. After I discuss with the important points with regard to Wipro assessment, I'll quickly start that milestone 3 mock test, the same platform, again the quizzes. So I'll start it once I complete explanation and running application with the use of JSP and servlet, and then I'll tell the points that are important for your assessments, and then I'll start that quiz. And as mentioned earlier, when your assessment date comes, again that before day, once again I will give a quick recap session so that it will be helpful for your milestone 2 as well as 3. So let's begin with the AJAX. So very quickly we will discuss what is AJAX and what are its advantages and why are we learning this AJAX, and then I'll again open the Java Enterprise Edition, that is the IDE, and then we will create a simple web application. So AJAX stands for Asynchronous JavaScript and XML. This is what the abbreviation of AJAX, Asynchronous JavaScript and XML. Next question is it a client-side technology or a server-side technology? So it is a client-side technology. As the abbreviation itself makes us understand, it is based on JavaScript and HTTP requests. So what we can do with AJAX is, whatever the JavaScript we are incorporating for validation, it can communicate directly with the server, and whatever the web page that we are waiting for the response from web server, it can be executed without reloading. So this is very important point to be remembered. So the response from web server will be acquired without the page getting reloaded. This is the point to be noted. Otherwise, earlier, very earlier, I don't know whether you were used to that or not. Every response, whatever we are waiting for, first we need to wait until the page gets loaded, and all the components again they get loaded along with the new response what we are waiting for. But now on, we are not waiting for any responses, it's appearing without the page being reloaded. So using AJAX, we can create faster and more user-friendly web applications. So these are the points you just need to remember. And next, AJAX incorporates XHTML and CSS. And we can use AJAX for interacting using DOM, that is Document Object Model. In my last session, I have shown you parsing XML using DOM and Saxna. So the same DOM, that is the Document Object Model. And for data interchange and manipulation, we use XML and XSLT, which that also we have seen in the last session. And then asynchronous data retrieval is done using XML HTTP request. It is the key object. We use it in the AJAX. And AJAX uses JavaScript for event interaction. It uses XML for information exchange. It uses HTML for formatted display. It uses CSS for formatting the templates. And coming to the server-side technologies also, AJAX can be compatible with the JSPs and servlets. That application I'll run and show you. Once a small application we will create, and we will see how AJAX is compatible with the server-side technologies like JSPs and servlets. And it is also compatible with ASP and ASP.NET and PHP. And coming to the advantages, so these are the key advantages of AJAX. So it can be useful for real-time form data validation, auto completions. This is very much important. Most of you might be seeing this auto completion. So that also is based on the AJAX only. So whatever the first character you are typing, automatically it will show you the auto completion code now. That is also used by AJAX only. And the load and demand, and the sophisticated user control interfaces, and refreshing the data and server pushes. All these are the advantages of using AJAX. So even the application now which I am going to create, I'll show you a simple application for the same kind of thing. How it will be showing you the preferences, all that I'll show you. So let's directly get started with the creating of the very first AJAX application. Let's not waste time. So I hope the Zoom, whatever I have done, it's enough for understanding. Now, for creating a simple AJAX application, what we are going to create is again the same which we have been doing. So we need to create a simple dynamic web project, and here let me just give the name AJAX demo. So it's already there. Okay. So the dynamic web project is getting created. So AJAX demo 2 is the name of the project that I have created. Now what we'll do is, first we will create the home page, and I said you in earlier classes also, the home page if we create with the name index.html or index.jsp, by default when you run the project using the server, automatically it gets opened without even giving any I mean the JSP page name or the particular HTML page name. Without giving that particular name, when you run the project directly on the web server, automatically it will be opening you the index page only. So you can just treat it like the home page. And what are the things you just require for creating a simple AJAX application is nothing else. You just require a web server being installed. That's the only thing required. So it doesn't have any huge API that compared to the other technologies. All you just require is the web server being installed on your machine. Nothing else additional technologies that you require for creating a simple AJAX application. So only one thing you just remember. So the response you will be getting, that means the JavaScript will be executed and the response will be fetched without the page getting reloaded. This is the main point you just remember. So the JavaScript will be executed and the response will be fetched without the page being reloaded. And majorly it will be used for code completion mechanisms. This is the key point you just require. And as I mentioned, XML HTTP request is the main object that will be used for creating and rendering these AJAX applications. And as I mentioned, it does not have any huge API like the other technologies. All you just require is a web browser web server that is being installed. And all the modern browsers, you take the Opera or the Google Chrome or the Mozilla Firefox, whatever it is, all the browsers are inbuilt, have the support of this AJAX. Only if you are using Internet Explorer, just make sure that you are using version 6 or above. if you are having, I mean, in your local machine, if you are having Internet Explorer earlier versions, I mean, prior to version 6, then you require to do some additional code setting also for making the script to be understood by the Internet Explorer also. I mean, prior to version 6. If you are already having Explorer version 6 or above, or if you are using Mozilla Firefox or the Google Chrome, then fine. You don't require any additional code setting. So as just mentioned, what we do is we'll just create a simple AJAX application. First, I'll create two JSP pages, and then later we will see the same code, how it we can just run the same application using a servlet, because those are the two server-side technologies we have studied as part of the training. So first, let us create a simple JSP and name it as index.jsp, so that when I run my project, automatically it gets loaded. So that's the reason I'm using index.jsp. And in this index.jsp, since we have already discussed what are all these things, by default the IDE will not require any of this information. So I'll just remove everything, and I'll just start typing from script itself. So script, and within this we are going to write our validation functions, everything. So I'll just let me tell you what is the application I'm trying to create. So whatever the example you might be having in that PBL lab, you can just try and explore what it is meant for and what it is doing. But the simple application what I am trying to create you and demonstrate you with this AJAX application is, so I'm going to create a simple text box asking user to start typing something, and as the keystrokes happen in the text field, automatically all those things that matches will be shown as the suggestions. I hope you are able to understand the simple application what I'm going to create. So I'm creating a simple application uh, which will be prompting user to type something in the text field, and as user starts typing the characters, all the things that are available as part of the uh, keystroke given by the user, all the suggestions will be given to user, allowing him for choose something among the list of options or the suggestions provided. So that's being done by the AJAX script. That's being done by the AJAX only. So how we are going to achieve that? Let us see with a small demonstration. So what I'm doing is, so within the script, I'm going to write my validation script. So function, I'm just using a simple method, show names, and in this show names, let us pass the name as object, and then here if name dot length double equal to 0, that means if name is not yet given, I'm just going to initialize. So document dot, let's search by get element by id, and this id is nothing but the identifier which we are going to specify what is the id name. So I'm using the identifier name as something names. So you can give any name, you have to enclose that particular identifier name in the double quotes, and then dot inner html. So inner html means within the same page, that's what it makes us understand. So if it is not specified, I'm just making it empty, so it's nothing but initializing an empty string, that's it. That's what you can just remember. So return, and then this is in case if the length is 0. What if the length is not 0? I mean, if at least one character is being entered by the user, then what are we supposed to get? We are supposed to get the response, and then we are supposed to show the suggestions, whatever that matches with the character that is entered by the user in the text field. So that we have to write it in the else part. So in that else part, we are going to write. So let's take a simple variable just to get the instance of the XML HTTP request. So new XML HTTP request. So I need not tell what it is going to do. So what are we doing is, we are fetching the instance of XML HTTP request. As I mentioned, for the whole AJAX application creation, this is the important object. So we are fetching the XML HTTP request instance, and using this, now we are going to write. So here we require on ready state change. So here you can see the description what it is going to do. So it is the member of this XML HTTP request. So it requires three parameters basically. The other two are optional, username and password. So sorry, on ready state change. Next we will open that particular connection. So first on ready state change equal to, so get names. Again we have to get that particular names. So this function again we will define, and then we are going to open the connection. I mean the communication channel we have to create now. So for that, x dot open, and then here we have to use three of the parameters. Two are optional as I mentioned. So I'm going to use get method. You can just try with the post method. I'm using right now get method. You can try later with the post method. And then here you have to specify the URL. So this URL is for the server or script. The URL whatever you are going to give, I mean where you want this particular validation to take place or check. So that URL you have to provide. So this URL is for the server or the script. So I'm just going to create some demo.jsp which we will be creating for that containing that particular names. And here you have to append this URL with the query. So I'm just using q as my query tag, and then this should fetch the name. And what is this name? Where is it coming from? From the argument that you are passing into the show names. Here we have given a name. That particular name I am just appending it to it, and then you have to specify whether it is asynchronous or synchronous. This you have to specify. If you specify true, then automatically it is understood that you are enabling asynchronous. What is the advantage of having asynchronous communication is, so your JavaScript will continue to execute, and you can it will be continuing, and your interaction with the page can be continued. That's the basic difference between asynchronous and synchronous. If you are going for synchronous communication, until the response is fetched, you have to keep waiting. But whereas with the asynchronous communication, you can just let the JavaScript continuing to execute, and you can continue with your UI interaction. So that's why we will be using most of the real-time application cases. We will be using this by enabling true. That is, we will be using it for asynchronous communication only. As I mentioned, you can even give false, but as just said now, you just remember that the JavaScript will not continue to execute until the response is fetched. Until the response is fetched, it will not continue to execute. And next we have to send the communication to the server. I mean the request to the server. So this is what we are doing. So I think it's fine here. So what we are doing is, so I've just written a function show names, which is taking the name as the argument, and then we are checking if name is empty, then we are just keeping empty string only within the inner HTML. Otherwise what we are doing is, we are getting the instance of XML HTTP request, and then on ready state change we are executing the script function get names, which we will define just now. So and then x dot open, we are giving three of the arguments. First type, first argument is the type of the method. Is it get or post? So right now I'm using get. You can just try with post, and then the URL. So URL containing the server or the script, and then the asynchronous enabled or disabled, and then you are sending the request to the server. And then yeah, till now it's fine. Now what we are supposed to create, we are supposed to create this function get names. So let's create quickly function get names, and then what should it contain? It should contain a simple code. if this dot, so here you can see if this dot ready state double equal to 4, I'll tell you what it is. Let me just fill this line. Next, this dot status double equal to 200. Then what we are supposed to do? Then we are supposed to again get this element is there now. Again we are supposed to get this. So the same thing I am copying and pasting with a small difference. Here again ID will be names only, but inner HTML now it cannot be empty. So what we are supposed to do is we are supposed to get the response. So here you can see this dot response text. So what you will be getting is this string. So this we have to use this dot response text. As you can see, the name itself makes you understand. So it is fetching the response. So whatever the data sent from the server, we are retrieving it. Here why we are not giving anything is because the length is 0. That means user have not entered even a single character. In that case, we are keeping empty in the inner HTML. That means in the same page. If user have entered at least one character, then we are getting that response. And coming to this particular line, so this dot ready state. So here altogether we have ready state values from 0 to 4. So if it is 0, then it means that request is not initialized. If it is 1, that means if the ready state value is 1, it indicates that the connection is ready. If this ready state value is 2, then it indicates request is just received. If it is 3, then it indicates request is still processing. And if it is 4, that indicates request is completed and the server is ready to generate the response. I hope you understood about this ready state. So if ready state value is 0, it indicates request is not initialized. If the value is 1, it just indicates connection is ready. If it is 2, it indicates request is just received. If it is 3, it indicates request is in processing stage. And if it is 4, it indicates request is totally completed and ready for generating the response. Similarly, coming to the status. So status can be either 200 or 404. I think 404 all of you are familiar with. It indicates page not found. Most of you might have seen that particular 404. It just indicates page not found. And if it is 200 means it indicates the target page is found. That's the simple thing. So sorry, 404 means page not found. If it is 200, it indicates the target page, whatever that is being looked for, it is found. That's what it indicates. And now, yeah, we are done with this particular validation part. So we have written the show names function, and then we have checked if the length is 0 or if it is more than 0. If it is 0, we are just keeping it empty. If it is more than 0, we are getting the response text and we are including it in the inner HTML page. And that inclusion we are doing only when that ready state value is 4 and status is 200. Now what we are just supposed to include, so script is completed, but we require this text field to be enabled for user to enter now. So for that we will just give that. So by default enter name, something you can just give enter name, and then open the tag for giving that particular type. So input type equal to, for text field we have to use text, and then here we will be using a function called on key up. We are using a function called on key up. That means whenever that particular key is entered and it is up, then we are going to execute the script. Which script we have to execute? This one. What is this? Show names. So it has to validate, it have to invoke that particular function. So I am invoking, sorry, you have to write it in double quotes. So show names. And show names indirectly, it again validates that particular get names and fetches that. And here what am I supposed to pass? I am supposed to pass the object. What is the object? Here it is name object, that is the reference name. But here what is the object I am supposed to pass? So for that, what we'll be using is, we'll just use this dot value. This is the simple thing, you will just append it. It's the common tag you will be using when you are not sure about the value exactly. I mean the name we don't know na, so we are referring to the current object's value. We are just referring to the current object's value. And then what else we require to create? We require to create the identifier. We just require to create the identifier. So p id equal to, what is the identifier I have used? The identifier what I have used is here get element by id. Here two places you have seen na, the identifier name what I have used is the names. So the same thing you will be giving. So names, and then close the double quotes, and then the tag. Yeah, it's fine. So I think with this we are ready with the index page. Now what we'll do is, here we have mentioned demo.jsp. So this demo.jsp we just need to create. Let's create that quickly and check how this is being executed. So JSP file again, and here the name, use the same case also, demo.jsp. Now again let me just remove all this, because by default since I have chosen JSP file, automatically this will be rendered. So that's the reason I'm just ignoring those things. And what I'll be doing is, I'll write a scriptlet for creating the names, because there I require names now. So for that I'll just use the Java scriptlet, sorry, JSP scriptlet. Within the scriptlet we are going to write. And first let's create the structure, and within this scriptlet we are going to do that. So for adding different names, I'm going to go for collection, and for that I'm just using array list. So here array list names equal to, okay, let's use the generic version rather than going for the raw version. Generic version makes it more healthier. So new array list, again the generic version string which I have used on the left hand side, the same generic version I am using, and its constructor. Sorry, new spelling mistake. Yeah. So what is the error? Okay, we know that we require import now, but here the import style will be a bit different. I have shown you already using the page import how we will be using. So percentile @ page import equal to, and here you will be writing that particular package name. So java dot util dot array list, because this is the only one I am using, so I am not writing star, I am just writing import java dot util dot array list. So okay, here spelling mistake. Yeah, now we can see that red underline is gone, because now package is imported. Now what we'll do is, let's add few names, so that when I'm entering that particular character, automatically it will show, I mean the page will be showing me the suggestions. So for that I am going to add CMRIT, because we require some names matching with that character which I am going to enter in the text field, so that it will show me the suggestions. And so CMR set, then CMR TC, then CMR EC, and then let me just also give few other names. So I'll be including my own names, and here again I'll just pass two more names, and we'll continue with the code. So I'm just giving total 7 names. You can give any number. I need not tell you that. You can understand. So what I've done is I've just created an array list and then added 7 names to that. And now what we'll do is, so I'm just using the query in order to get that particular. So here request.get parameter I am using in order to get that particular value. So get parameter, into this I am passing that particular query variable which I have used in that first one. Here we have used here this one. This is the queue what I am referring to there. I hope you are able to understand. Here demo.jsp question mark queue is there the query. This is what the query. I mean, even in the Google, when you are giving any search string, this is how you will be seeing so the query will be appended like this. So the same thing I am using here. So here you can use any variable name or string name. You can give your own name, nothing matters. But just remember, this particular acts as the parameter for the request.get parameter. Here, just carefully observe this particular queue, whatever here I am giving that is acting as the parameter value for the request.get parameter. And on the left hand side, I am just giving any variable name. So rather than using too many variables, I am just trying to use the same variable names. And then, so let's just initialize the suggestions initially empty. So for that I am just using the variable name, so which will be containing all the suggestions that it has to append and show it on the web page, where I am going to give character in the text field. Now let's use the for each loop. So for yes colon, and this has to navigate over my collection, and the collection object name is names. So the same names I'm using, and then you can even use for loop also, doesn't matter. It's up to you what you are going to use. So yes is giving red. Acha, I think declaration. We have to say what type it is now. Yeah, now it's gone. So we have to specify the type for it. That's why it just gave me in red. Now here what is the thing we are going to include is, first we have to check if this particular it contains, I mean whatever the collection I have created, if my collection contains the query here, this particular variable, I am just checking with the variable, and what is it getting it? It is getting from the query that is passed in the index.jsp. So if this contains that query, then what am I supposed to do? Then I am supposed to check if do I have, if do I have, and if that query is coming with null, or if that query is null or empty. This is what I am just doing with this. What else? Okay, one more bracket. Still. Okay. Since it is expecting a statement, that's why that red mark came. Anyway, so I'm just checking. First of all, I'm checking if my particular iterating variable is containing the query character or the particular elements, query elements. Then I'm checking, is it referring to null or is it empty? If it is referring to null or empty, then I'm just initializing my name, which I have taken for suggestion. That suggestion name, I'm just initializing it to the string. And otherwise, what am I supposed to do? I am supposed to append all the I'm supposed to append all the suggestions. So for that, name plus equal to yes. What is the yes? My iterating variable. Yes is nothing but the my iterating variable. And here all the names will be appended. In order to have a separator, if it is returning me multiple names, let us also append some comma, which is just to separate these multiple names, whatever it will be returning. And then now whatever this particular name is containing, we have to display that now. For that I am using this out, which is the implicit object, out dot print. And then here I am using the ternary operator in order to check if it is null, or this particular thing. I'm just trying to get this particular thing. If the name is null or if it contains empty, then question mark. I'm just using the ternary operator. You know the ternary operator now, the same ternary operator I'm using. So then I'm going to give simple string no suggestions, and otherwise I'm going to give name, which will contain the appending of string. I think it's fine. I hope everyone understood so far what we have created. So I have just created a simple dynamic web project, and in the dynamic web project I have created a index.jsp. In the index.jsp, first what we are doing is we are creating a simple script asking us to show the names. As I already mentioned, what am I doing is I'm just creating a simple text field, and user will be entering character by character, and as he enters the character, all the suggestions, all the suggestions available should be displayed in the page, in the same page. That's what my agenda of this application. So I'm just creating for that a simple script, and I'm checking if it is containing the length 0, then I'm keeping it empty. Otherwise I'm getting the XML HTTP request instance, and then I'm invoking the function which is going to fetch me all the names that matches with the character which is being entered in the text field. And for that I'm opening the connection, and three parameters I'm using: get, which is the type of the method, and then URL, which is showing me demo.jsp is the page which it has to pass this query, and then this will be the parameter which I'm going to refer in the demo.jsp page, and then I'm appending this particular name to that, and then I'm enabling here true, indicating it's an asynchronous communication, indicating that the JavaScript can continue to execute while I interact with the web page. And then this entire information we are sending the request to the server. So this is what we have done. And in the get names, as I mentioned, here I am checking if the ready state is 4, which indicates that the request is complete and it is ready to generate the response. And similarly I am checking if the status is 200, that means the target page is found. If it is 404, that means page not found. And then if that particular names attribute is containing some values, that response I am fetching it. That's what we are using here, this dot response text function. And here this HTML code I need not explain, you can understand. So we are just creating a text on the web page, enter name, and then the type of the box is text field, and then on key up we are just invoking this method show names, and there we are passing the value, whatever the current value is there, the same thing we are passing. And then the demo.jsp, which is our navigating one, the server script, which is my actual server script. So the same thing we will see with the servlet also. Very quickly we will see a very minor change we require to do actually. Anyway, here I am just creating a array list. For that I have imported this array list using this page import tag, and then we have added 7 names, and then I am getting the query using the request.get parameter. This parameter name, I hope you remember, it is from the index.jsp, this one. The same thing I have used in the get parameter, and then initialize name to empty, and then iterating my string variable yes over the collection names, and then I'm checking if each and everything is containing this particular character, whichever that is being entered in the text field by the user. And if it is null or empty, then I'm just appending the same character. Otherwise, I'm concatenating all the matching strings. I'm concatenating all the matching strings, and then we are just displaying it using the JSP's implicit object out, and then using print method we are just checking if name is null or name is empty. Then I'm just showing no suggestions. Otherwise, I'm showing that particular concatenated result. So first, let's see if it is working fine or not. Okay, let me see if it is within the same page or not. So you can use even Chrome browser. Earlier I have just used it Chrome browser when I am doing. That's why I just changed it to internal web browser itself. That's the only thing I have done now. Now let's see if it works fine. So run on server. So you know what it will do. First it will ask, click on finish, and then restart the server. Click on OK, and then any errors it will display in the console. Otherwise it will open me the index.jsp page. Okay, it just opened. Okay, so this is what the body which we have presented now. So enter name. So here you can see, when I have typed capital K, you can see because I have added 7 names now. So from that matching with capital K, it have returned because I have added. Okay, let me type capital C. So here you can see what are the suggestions it is providing me. So this is all with AJAX. This is what you can do with AJAX. So you can just show the code completion, something like that. I hope you are able to understand. So the code completions it is showing me, and it is right now I haven't used any equals ignore case or converting to uppercase while validating the script. Nothing I have done now. That's the reason compulsory I'm passing the same character. You can see if I am giving small c, you can see what it is saying, no suggestions. If I am typing small k, no suggestions. If I am typing small l, no suggestions. If I type capital L, then it is giving me suggestion that matching lava something. And if I give small u, then you can see it is giving Kumar. If I give small r, then you can see Krishna and Kumar, because whatever the suggestions it is giving, they are containing that particular character that is being entered. It's something like your phone directory. I mean contact list I am saying. So when you want to dial a number, so you will be using your phone, and when you click on the green symbol, I mean the dial pad, and there you type the one single character, how it will be showing you all the characters that will be matching, whether it can be in the middle or anywhere na, just similar to that. I hope you are able to understand with the thing what I mentioned. So when you are trying to dial any particular person, and when you are giving in the search bar a single character by character, whichever that are coming with matching, automatically it will be showing you. So the similar fashion, here you can see now when I am giving RI, Kumar is vanished. I hope you are able to observe. Similarly, if I am giving A, you can see it has given me Krishna, Lava, Kumar. And here along with A, if I give V, now you can see only Lava is being shown, because that's the only thing which is containing. The same thing if I give R, AR, you can see only Kumar is being shown. I hope you are able to follow and understand. So that's the reason I have given that phone dial example. So when you start typing the characters, this particular is being taken and it is given to the uh, validating server script, and that server script is fetching the suggestions without the page being reloaded. Similarly, if I give I, you can see CMRIT is the one that is matching. Why it's not giving Krishna? Because I have given here capital I, and there is only one string that is matching with capital I, that is CMRIT. Hope you are able to understand the difference, because whatever the character you are giving, and that particular thing should be matched with any of the collection that you have added for checking that particular suggestions list. And it is purely case sensitive because I haven't included the validation kind of uh, without case being checked. For that, what you can simply do is, I think even with the logic building exercises, you might have encountered that. What you just need to do is, when you are passing the query and when you are checking it, you just check with the translating entire thing into uppercase or lowercase, and then you can perform that and see. So I hope you got this particular. Here you can see when I have given T, it said no suggestions. But when I give capital T, now you can see all are listed because all our college names what I have added except CMR EC, the remaining three it have shown. So this is what the simple AJAX web application. So what is that I have created is, we just created a simple JSP page, and in that what we are doing is, we are creating a simple text field, and then on entering and on key up function I am using in order to call my script function. That's my JavaScript, the show names, and that value I'm passing, and that it is when the length is 0, nothing will be done. But when the length is not 0, it is creating the XML HTTP request object, and then it is rendering the response from the demo.jsp by passing this query. And if that particular thing is ready, I mean the response is ready and the target is available, then it is including that response. It's just including that response. And this demo.jsp is very simple. I think everyone understood this demo.jsp. So we just created a simple collection and added few names, and then whatever the query parameter is there, that query parameter which I have used in the index.jsp, this query, I mean this query, the same thing I am fetching it by using the request.get parameter, and that we are using it to check from my collection, and if my collection contains that, then I'm just concatenating all those things with just for understanding I have used comma separator, and if it's not included, then I'm just displaying no suggestions and then the otherwise the name. Now very quickly, just it takes 1 minute time, what we do is, now we have seen the same thing with JSPs, I mean both being JSPs, my home page and my server page also, I mean the server validation page also I've used JSP. Now what we do is, let me quickly create a servlet, and how we use this servlet I'll show you. So I think you do remember where do we create the servlets. So servlets have to be created under Java resources src folder. So right click, new, choose the servlet, and it's up to you. You want to choose any package name, you can keep it. Right now I'm not going for any package name, directly I'm giving some demo servlet, any name you can give. I'm just choosing demo servlet name, and then click on finish. Okay, without confusion, let us close this particular page. So now, okay, let me close this tax parser. This is of our last session. Now coming to this demo servlet. Now again, demo servlet should contain the same collection whatever we have done with demo.jsp. The same collection we require here also. So what I'll do is, I'll just copy this code, whichever we are doing with the demo.jsp. The same code I'll copy, just copying it, and let us go back to demo servlet. And in this demo servlet, here yeah, here I'm just pasting it in the do get method. I'm pasting it in the do get method. I hope you are able to understand why I'm pasting in do get method, because there in that index.jsp, in the open method I have given get now. So for that, so select, choose the suggestion, import java.util.arraylist. So imported, and then I think rest of the code is anyway related to Java code only. Yeah, here out is the implicit object for JSP, not for servlet. So just remove it, and I hope you remember what is the method we used to use for displaying contents on the web page with the servlet. So you will be requiring getWriter instance. get writer instance. So let me use the response. So here, this is the response which I'm using here. This one, HTTP servlet response is there now. This response object we are using. So response dot get writer. Okay, now you can see the red mark is gone. So the red underline is gone. So only one simple change. First thing, I have created a servlet, and then here I have just replaced out dot with response dot get writer, because out is the implicit object for JSP, but not for the servlet. For servlet, we require to get the object of response get writers. So that's why we are using this get writer method of response object, and I think rest everything will be fine. And one more small change we require, that is in the index.jsp URL. Here, what is the URL? Currently, it is connected with the URL. It is connected with the demo.jsp. But now, what is the URL which we require to replace it here? We require to add the demo servlet. We require to add the demo servlet, and query, it is going to be the same queue, because there I haven't changed any code. Only for printing, instead of using out object, I have just used response.getWriter. Rest of the code I haven't changed anything. So the same parameter query can be used. So only change I just required to do is in the index.jsp. So in the index.jsp, let us remove this and add the scriptlet, that is the declaration, and in the declaration you will be using request dot. So here we have to select the get context path. So get context path you have to choose, and then you have to close this declaration. So how do you close the declaration? By just adding this percentile and greater than, and then what is that you have to give it here? You have to give the name of your servlet. Whatever the name you have given for your servlet, the same name you have to give it here. And there should be a forward slash before that. So I hope it should be working now. So application is not getting changed. Only my communication that is being sent, that is the server to which I am communicating to, is being changed. Earlier communication is to my demo.jsp page. Now the communication I changed it to demo servlet. Now the communication I just changed it to demo servlet. That's the only difference. Now let's once again run and check this. So run on server. Again it will ask me. So let's see. Is it the same one, or it should be running? So it's not fetching. Okay, just give me a second. Index.jsp, and then is it fine? This is the only two changes you just require to do. So one is when you are using the get method. So here you have to use the declaration from where you want to fetch it. So request dot get context path, because in JSP also request is the implicit object, and then here we have to give the servlet name, and rest everything doesn't change, because here also I'm using the same communication. Let me just save this and let's see. Maybe at least it's giving. So no suggestions also it's not giving. Just give me a second. Let me check. Even no errors are there, and even the code which we have pasted is within the do get only, so that is also fine. And then here also no changes will be there except this response.getWriter. Let's remove this. It doesn't matter actually, since there is no method that I'm using. And then need of any change. So here it is the same declaration, request dot get context path, and then the declaration ends, and then you will be invoking the servlet. Just a second. Once let me check it in the application, AJAX application. Just a second. So it's the same thing how you pass the servlet. There is that JSP. HTML. So URL here it is the same. Functions and request. Here it is using this is the servlet code. But this application what they have created is different one. You can just try even that one. But servlet it should work fine. Just a second. No servlet. It's not giving. It's not giving the suggestions. Once let's restart the server. Otherwise, let me just clean it. Clean the project, and once again let me build and see. So now it should ask me to restart the server because I have cleaned and built now. Okay, it's coming. Only I hope you have seen no change I have done. I haven't done any change. So after the changes, one small thing we need to remember is once again clean the project and build it and execute. You are getting it. So only one small difference. Earlier, which when I have changed my server navigation to servlet, we haven't cleaned the project. That's the only difference. So once I have cleaned the project, you can see how it is being executed. I hope you got it. So only small thing what you have to do is just go to the project and then once again clean it and then build the project and then restart your server and then execute and see. I hope now you are able to understand. So here you can see now, yeah, it's coming. So this navigation is to servlet now. Instead of JSP, now I have navigated to servlet. I hope everyone understood the use of AJAX. So basically AJAX is used to show some suggestions kind of thing or code completion tags without the page being reloaded, and using asynchronous way of communication will let user to continue interacting with the web page, whereas JavaScript will be continue to execute. I hope everyone understood this. So I have shown you a simple AJAX application, how you can create and set the communication to server, whether that server can be a JSP or the servlet. So both the ways you can just do it, and only difference you are going to make it in the URL. Only difference you are going to make it in the URL. So if it is servlet, this is how you have to give the request to the server. So request dot get context path within the declaration tag and then the servlet name. Whereas if the request the URL is the JSP, instead of this directly you can give it like this. I hope you understood this. So if the requested URL is JSP, you can just give the demo2.jsp or whatever the file name you have used. Okay, my file name is demo only. Demo2 I have given for AJAX demo2, that is for the project name. So anyway, this is how you will be using. If the URL contains JSP, then that particular JSP should be available. If the URL is servlet, you have to give it with the declaration of getting the context path and then providing the servlet name. And I hope you have observed this difference. This is how you will be providing, and that's why I have given the example of your phone contacts. When you are giving character by character, whatever that are matching will be shown to you. So here when I am giving capital K, you can see Krishna and Kumar are shown. When I am giving capital KR, you can see how it is showing. Similarly, when I am giving small I, you can see Krishna being shown. If I give small a, you can see all three strings where matching Krishna, Lava, Kumar, all three containing small a. When I am giving R, you can see only Kumar being shown. Something like this. This is how you will be using the simple AJAX application. So I hope everyone understood this. Now before starting the quiz, I would like to inform you with regard to your milestones, important points. So I have talked to the Wipro team, and what I understood is you will not be having any CPC project. I feel it's a good news for you. You are not going to do any CPC project. Earlier I thought whatever the kind of assessment which I have undergone, that is first MCQs and then logic building exercises and then the project which I have to implement in 2.5 hours I mentioned. I thought even you people will be having the same kind of exam pattern, but since this is my very last session of your training, only for that reason I have communicated to the Wipro team and I got information that you will not be having any CPC. So whatever the milestone patterns you are having now, it will be the same pattern even for your final assessment. And coming to few important points, people were asking me also personally, How about those who did not got 60% in the milestone 1 test? So you need not worry. So you can continue to attend training and attend for the remaining milestone test I have already said. So what is the process is, now those who have not cleared milestone 1, no problem, you are continuing with training. And in this week only we will be having milestone 2 exam also. The date we will inform you in the group anyway. And milestone 2 test also will be in the same pattern. 20 marks for MCQ test, which includes this syllabus collections, multi-threading, uh, RDBMS, SQL, JDBC. Only from these things you will be getting 20 marks MCQs. And I hope all of you have even appeared for the mock test, and you got some recap as well. And another thing regarding to this mock test is, few of them have asked me personally, can you please share that particular questions and answers once again, because in the hurry we did not noted all the answers. So after completing today's mock test 3, what I'm going to do is, I'll share it in your group, the file containing mock test 2 questions, 30 questions, and all the options, and the answer column also. Along with that, I'll share today's mock test 3 file also in your group, which you can use it for later recap purpose. And yeah, coming to milestone 3 test also, again the same pattern. 20 marks, 20 MCQs, and 30 marks, 2 logic building problems. Again it will be the same pattern. So this is with regard to your milestone exams. And now comes the important point which everyone requires. uh, Now, what happens if you don't get 60% in milestone 2 or milestone 3 also? No problem. After milestone 3 assessment is completed, for there will be a schedule given to you. Assessment 1 recap test, assessment 2 recap test, assessment 3 recap test. So there's going to be 3 days gap between each and every milestone recap test. There's going to be 3 days gap between every milestone recap test. So those who did not get 60% in any of the milestones can appear for the recap test and get that 60%. And if any of you have not got 60% in all these milestone 3 tests, then you can appear for all 3 milestone recap tests. But just remember that what you will not be having is, you may not be having too much time for each and every milestone recap test. So every milestone recap test you will be having just 3 days gap. You will be having just 3 days gap. So as I mentioned, once assessment milestone 3 is completed, within 3 days milestone 1 recap test will be scheduled. Within 3 days, within the next 3 days milestone 2 recap test will be scheduled, and within the next 3 days milestone 3 recap test will be scheduled. Whoever, whichever milestone test they could not secure 60% can appear that particular recap test. Those who have secured 60% in all these 3 milestone tests, they can just wait for the final assessment exam. And final assessment exam will be appeared or will be attended by those who secures 60% in all 3 milestone tests, whether it may be in the first test or in the recap test. It doesn't matter whether you are securing 60% in the very first time conducted test or in the recap test. It doesn't matter, but you require to secure 60% in each and every milestone test. And once all 3 recap tests are also completed, then the final scores will be shared. And in the final score sheet you will be having the summary containing milestone 1, milestone 2, milestone 3 marks. And in that, those who are able to secure 60% for all 3 milestones within a week, I mean after milestone 3 test is also completed, within a week the final assessment test will be scheduled. Again, coming to the final assessment, even the final assessment will be the same pattern, but only difference is it comprises of your entire syllabus. It comprises of your entire syllabus. And even the exam weightage will be increased. So your MCQs will be for 40 marks or 50 marks. That will be decided later. Don't worry now. But just remember, again, the final assessment will also be on the same pattern. You'll be having first round MCQs test, second round logical building exercises using the metal platform. But underline point, all of you are going to appear for the final assessment at same time, and your camera must and should be enabled. This is the point you just need to remember. So your final assessment, you will be appearing again using the same metal platform with MCQs as the first round and logical building problem exercises second round, but all of you will be appearing at the same time with your cameras being enabled. So MCQs test will be comprising of whole syllabus with marks increased to 40 or 50, that will be set later, and then logical building exercise for 40 marks or 60 marks or 50 marks. I mean, the total final assessment test will be for 100 marks. The total final assessment test will be for 100 marks. So this is with regard to your final assessment. And I hope everyone got understood about this milestones. And still, if anybody is having queries, you can keep continuing me asking in the group or personally. It doesn't matter. I'll be available for answering your queries. But few of them were continuously asking me, still I did not get milestone 1 recap test, when it will be, when it will be. That's why I'm saying, after all 3 milestone tests are completed, then within 3 days gap, each and every milestone recap test will be there. Whoever could not secure 60% in any of the milestones or all, they can appear for the recap tests, which will be conducted for all 3 milestones. And those who secure 60% in all 3 milestones are only eligible for appearing for the final assessment, which will be for 100 marks, and it comprises of the entire syllabus. I hope all of you have got your answers with regard to the training. And as I said, let's begin the mock 3 test. I hope all of you are ready with so you can switch on to the new tab, and then you can give on this quizzes.com/join. I hope you are able to see the screen, and you can just use this URL quizzes.com/join. You can go for new tab. You can go for new tab and just type this quizzes.com/join. I'll just click on start, so that you will be getting the code, which you can paste it in this game code, and then you can begin your test. So all of you get ready with this quizzes.com/join for this milestone 3 test. As I said, once you complete the test, I am going to share both the files, the mock milestone 2 mock test and milestone 3 mock test files. I am going to share it, so that whenever the exam is scheduled, once again you can just have a recap of all the 30 questions along with your regular reading module. So you can just continue with your learning. Along with that, before the test, you can just have a quick recap about these mock test questions. So let me just click on start. I hope all of you are ready. So play. And then, so I have enabled power-ups, and I have enabled redemption question also. You can just play and learn. So this is the game code. I hope all of you are able to see. It's 891869. Let all of you join, so that I'll click on start. Once all of you get joined, I'll click on start. So the game code is 891869. I already mentioned to come with roll number. Somebody XYZ came. I don't know whether it is from your section or some outsider, because I have made this quiz to be public, so I don't know. But please do come with only your roll numbers, which most of you are doing. Okay, then actual strength is 80 and only 61 are there. Still, anybody is going to join, or shall we start? Just one more minute, we will see, guys. After 1 minute, whatever might be the strength that were added, I'll click on start. Please hold on. Only 1 minute. After that, we will start with the whatever the number of participants. I have even posted it in your group, so that you can click on that link which I have posted and enter the game code which I have given in the group also, for those who will be using mobile. Okay, then here we go. Let others come and join. Enjoy your learning while playing. Congratulations for all questions being right. started, please try to complete fast because you'll be Okay, guys. I hope I have justified my part of training you. All of you might be benefited. If any other queries you people are having, you can post it anytime, whether it is in the group or personally. I'll be there to help you or guide you. And with this, I'm concluding my training session and only recap sessions I'll be conducting before your final assessments. And personal queries will be answered anytime. Thank you for attending the training and bye.